Thanks for joining us today with this webinar. My name is Ali Zakir. I'm a techno-functional consultant with AblyPro. And today is the fourth video in a series of videos where we're talking about Salesforce Field Service. And today in particular, we'll be talking about skills within field service. So the agenda today, we're going to talk about how we set up skills, why they're important, and how they're utilized. Then we're going to assign those skills to service resources. Then we'll talk about work types and how those skills are used. Then we'll talk about required skills for a particular type of job. And then we'll touch upon required products. And then finally, we'll talk about how work orders to service appointments, how skills come into that also. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump into the demo, into the org, talk a little bit about it. So what are skills? So skills are assigned skills to service resources that can represent certifications or area of expertise. We can add skills to requirements for work types, work orders, work order line items, and this indicates the skills needed to complete the work. So let's actually just go ahead and do it. As we're doing it, we can explain a little bit more. So what we want to do here is we're in the org. And what we want to do is actually let's go to classic. And we want to be in setup. Just type in here skill. Okay. So currently I have 3 skills set up: commercial router, fiber, and residential router. So what we're going to do is we're just going to click on new. And here we're going to set up a skill. So we're going to just call this fiber to endpoint. You don't need to do that. It's always good to put a description here for the purpose of this video. We're just going to leave it blank. We're not going to be concerned about these items here. So all we want to do for right now is we just want to set up the skills, give it a name. So we're going to save this here. Okay, great. So now what we're going to do is we're going to jump back to Lightning. Okay. So now that we've set up a skill, what we want to do is assign it to a service resource. So we have one service resource. This is a technician that actually performs the work, that goes out to the field and does the work. So if we click on Tom Hicks, we can come in here, we can see some basic information. He's a technician, he's active, and he's also included in the scheduling optimization. What we want to do is go to related list here. And as you can see here, under related list, we have service resource skills. So currently, he has 3 skills listed here: commercial router, residential router, and fiber. So these are the skills that the resource that the technician has to be able to perform the work. And then if you can look over here, we see skill level. So we can assign a skill level from 0 to 99.99. And what that tells us is the level of expertise that they have in that particular type of skill. So that could be, the number of years that they have experience, or maybe certifications that they have to be able to perform that work. So that is something you as a business would internally determine how you want to grade or give the skill levels for your technicians. So what we're going to do here is we're going to click on new, and we're going to add a new skill. So the new skill that we had just added previously was fiber to endpoint. So we're going to select that. And as you can see here, it's asking us to enter in a skill level. So for Tom Hicks, we're going to say that they're a 75 skill level. And here we're just going to say from what date that skill level is available to that resource. So we're just going to pick, actually, we're just going to pick the previous day. And we're just going to save this. All right. So now if you go back to here under the service resource skills, we can see that that fiber to endpoint has been added and the skill level is 75. All right. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go to work types. So skills are kind of used in two ways. One is the skills that the service resource has to be able to perform a particular work, and then we match that up with the work order. If the work order requires a certain type of skill and a certain level of skill, then a matching process is done where the work order is matched against, or yeah, the work order is matched against the service resource so that they can perform that work. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to work type. And we're going to create a new work type. So this one is going to be, I'm just going to call it store. Install endpoint in the closet. Once again, it's always good to give a description here. Um, Estimated duration. So I'm going to put 2 here. And you have options here. You can either specify that as hours or you can specify that as minutes. So if you were to specify it as minutes, in this particular scenario, that would be 120 minutes. We're not going to talk about service report templates for right now. What we are going to do is we're going to check off this auto create a service appointment. So, and we'll talk about how that comes into play in a minute. So we're going to just go ahead and save this. And now what we're going to do is now that we have that, we're going to go to the related list. And you notice here we have skills requirement. There's nothing specified right now. So we're going to click on new and we're going to search for the whatever skills might be needed. So we're going to say we need fiber to endpoint skill and the level that we need to be able to do this job, we're just going to say it's 60%. And just for good measure, we're just going to add another skill here also. So we're going to click on fiber and the skill level here is we're going to just say 75 again. Okay. So for fiber, we have 75, and for the fiber endpoint, we have 60. And if there's any other skills, obviously, we can add them accordingly. One thing I'm going to just touch upon when we're creating this work type. Now, a work type is essentially a template. It's a template for you to be able to create a work order or a work order line item, which would ultimately become a service appointment. So this is very useful where you're just standardizing your field service work, where you perform the same task again and again, the same type of work. So you're not every time creating um, a work order from scratch. So this is a template that you can predefine everything. So when you're creating your work orders, it just takes the information from here and it makes life a lot easier. So, for argument's sake, what we could do here for product required. So to be able to do this installation, we're going to say we need a product. So we're gonna say we need a fiber reel, quantity needed, one, and just one. So, and then you specify one, so that's each. And then we just, for good measure, we'll just add another product required. So we're gonna say endpoint fiber. We're gonna just say we need one of those and save it. Okay, so now we're saying, now that we've completed this work type, we need these skills that we specified before, fiber to endpoint, fiber, and then we need these required products, a fiber reel and endpoint fiber. And we've just created a work type. So now what we're going to do is we're going to jump to the field service app. Click on work orders. So we're going to create a new work order. And this could also come from a case, and the case would be a work order. Well, for right now, we're going to be doing it this. So we're going to select a work type. So the work type that we're going to do is we're going to do install endpoint in the closet, all right? We're going to select a territory where this work is going to be performed. I'm just going to, let's just select the account that we have here. Okay. You can put a description in here, and you can put usually you would actually put an address here where the service appointment will be performed. We're just going to leave it blank now because we're just talking about skills. So we have all the information that we need for our purposes. So we've created a work order 007. So now if we go to related again, the required skills are listed here. So we've got the fiber to endpoint and fiber. So when we created this work order, we didn't have to, manually enter this information. It used the work type and it pre-populated everything for us. Um, and I don't have it here, but if there was the required products, if I had that related list on here, that would show up also. So the service appointment also got created because when we created the work type, we had checked off that box automatically create a service appointment. So it created a service appointment here also for us. So if we go to the field service, to the dispatcher console, we can see that service appointment here. And if we wanted to, we could just drag it onto the Gantt and schedule that service appointment. So that's a very, a very simple way of just showing you how the skills come into play. So the other part of it would be if we're using a scheduler, when the scheduler is trying to assign the job, we didn't get any error messages here because Tom Hicks has the required skills to perform the work. So it didn't give us a error. If Tom Hicks did not have the skills required to perform the work, he wouldn't have been able to, he wouldn't have been assigned that work. So the other thing you can do is if you have an existing work order, you can come to work orders here, select the work order, and if the work order doesn't have the skills already defined, you can always add them also. So if there's an existing work order, and we're going to add this fiber to endpoint. We're going to specify the skill level, let's say 50, and just save it. So now when the dispatcher or the system automatically schedules this work order that will become a service appointment, it'll factor in that skill. So it has to be required to be able to perform the work. Um, so that's the basics of skills and how they're important and how they're utilized within Salesforce Field Service. So that'll be the end of the demo. Um, if you have any questions, do let us know. You can post them to us, or you can get back to us with any questions you may have, and we'll be more than happy to answer those questions for you. Once again, thanks for joining us today in today's webinar. Here is our contact information, and just contact us anytime if you have any questions or any way we can help you. So thank you and have a good day.